Hiya, buddy. Watching NailGuyTV.
Alright, so that was my daughter Winston, and she loves Mickey Mouse. She comes into my office almost every single day, and whenever she sees a new set of nails, she's always checking them out. This time it happened to be Mickey Mouse, and so, I had to include her in this video. At these early stages of the painting, I'm just trying to figure out where everything goes. I make sure that we have a little mouth in here and just kind of make it as solid as possible. We're working with gel, so we make sure that we cure that first layer, and then we can add in some of our shadowing. When it comes to the shadows, I just mix a slightly darker shade here, and then I'll use the top coat to dilute it and kind of make it a little bit more transparent. And that way it blends in really well with the coat that we had below it. You can do this several different ways. You could leave that first coat still wet. However, I find that it works a little bit easier if we cure that first coat and do this blend with the top coat. And so you see this in a lot of my paintings. This is one of my favorite ways to create those blends. Once we've gotten that laid out, we're working from the back, working forward, and now I'm reaching in and using black to add the nose as well as Mickey's head. So I still have a pretty big brush here as far as like nail brushes go, and I just like to block in that image, figuring out the shape of his head, which is obviously going to be round, and then finding out where the ears go. So I think everyone kind of knows what Mickey Mouse looks like, but we don't really know. If you just tried to draw Mickey Mouse off the top of your head, it would be pretty darn difficult. So I always recommend using a image to look at for reference, and then that way you can kind of determine where everything goes. We always have this little challenge within our family of trying to paint things off the top of our head, and you'd be surprised how terrible some of these turn out. So always use a reference image if you want it to look anything like the real thing. So we have the first coat of black here. I went ahead and I cured it. It looks like we missed some footage there, so it just kind of skipped ahead, but not too much. At this point, I mixed a light shade of blue, and again, using that same technique with the top coat, I'm diluting it, creating some of the highlights in Mickey's head, and it's a pretty smooth head, so you want to try to get this to look smooth without any real texture, and again, I think the top coat really helps out with that. Now we can add some of the small details in Mickey's face. I switched my brush here. I'm using a much smaller brush just so that I can come in and add these really fine lines. With Mickey, we don't really use a straight black for these lines. Instead, I just mixed a skin tone that is slightly darker, and then I go in and add those details in there. If you pay attention, I'm using just the very point of my brush, and it really helps with creating really intricate lines, right? A lot of people, they tend to use the whole belly of that brush, and you just aren't able to create really fine detail like that. With all of these coats, make sure that we cure them in between, because it helps out with layering. That way that we can work on top of each other, and we don't have any blends. I know we had some comments in some of the previous videos whether we cured or not, and since we're working with gel, of course we want to make sure that we cure it, or else you're just going to have a huge mess on your hands. Now I'm going to add in the white into his eyes, and again I work from the back moving forward. So since the pupil is towards the front of our image here, that'll come in afterwards, and again we're just using straight black. So I do go back here and add a little bit of shadowing to the portion underneath Mickey's nose. It's using that same technique that we've used throughout this whole tutorial, getting that dark shade and then using top coat to dilute it. I also do the side of his face here. I'm basically contouring his face. Anyways, once we've done that, then we can go ahead. I can't even do this. So then I add some highlighting to his nose and the side of his face as well. And then I like to come back and finish off everything with just straight highlights to the nose and the eyes. If you guys enjoyed this tutorial, please leave a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, it really helps me out. And if you didn't enjoy it, I'm sorry I wasted 6 minutes of your time.